In the sleepy coastal town of Eldridge Bay, where the Pacific Ocean met jagged cliffs and dense fog rolled in like a living shroud, life moved at the pace of the tides. Fishermen hauled their catches at dawn. Tourists snapped photos of the lighthouse during the day, and by night, the streets emptied as if the sea itself commanded silence. It was a place where old salts span yarns about shipwrecks and sea monsters, but no one took them seriously until the summer of 2025. Dr. Elena Vasquez had come to Eldridge Bay for research, not folklore. A marine biologist from the University of California, she specialized in deep-sea anomalies. Her grant funded a study on bioluminescent creatures in the bay's trenches, which plunged deeper than anyone had mapped. She rented a weathered cottage on the cliff's edge, its windows overlooking the black expanse of water that seemed to swallow the moonlight. Her assistant, Marcus, a grad student with a perpetual sunburn and an enthusiasm for diving, joined her. They spent days on a rented boat, deploying submersibles and analyzing samples. It started with the whispers. Not human voices, but something sutladalo, rhythmic hissed that carried on the wind after sunset. Elena first heard it while reviewing footage one evening. She paused the video, cocking her head. The sound wasn't from the recording. It came from outside, drifting up from the beach below. She dismissed it as waves crashing against rocks. But Marcus heard it too. "Sounds like breathing," he said, half joking. They laughed it off. But that night, Elena dreamed of tentacles uncoiling from the abyss, wrapping around her legs and pulling her down. The first disappearance happened a week later. Old man Hargrove, a retired fisherman who walked his dog along the shore every night, vanished. His terrier was found the next morning, whimpering at the water's edge, its fur matted with salt and something viscous, like slime. The police chalked it up to a rogue wave. Hargrove had probably slipped on the rocks. But Elena, curious, visited the site. She found tracks, elongated footprints, webbed and clawed, leading from the surf to the dunes and back. They weren't human, nor any animals she recognized. She photographed them, her scientific mind racing. "Amphibious," she muttered. "Something that can breathe on land." Marcus was skeptical. Crab tracks,
or kids messing
around. But Elena knew better. The prints were too large, the spacing suggesting a bipedal gait. That night, as the fog thickened, the whispers returned, louder, almost insistent. Elena couldn't sleep. She sat by the window, staring at the ocean, which glowed faintly with phosphorescence. In the distance, a shape broke the Safisa dark silhouette, humanoid but wrong, with limbs that seemed too long and a head that tilted unnaturally. It submerged before she could grab her binoculars. The town buzzed with unease. Mayor Wilkins called a meeting at the community hall, assuring everyone it was just an accident. "The sea gives and takes," he said, his voice booming like a sermon. But whispers of a different kind spread among the locals. Tales of the Tidewalker, a legend from indigenous tribes that once inhabited the bay. It was said to be a guardian spirit, turned vengeful, a creature born from polluted waters and ancient curses. It dwelled in the deep but emerged at night, hunting those who disrespected the ocean. Elena dismissed it as myth, but she couldn't ignore the parallels. 2 nights later, the second attack came. Sarah Jenkins, a young waitress at the Harborside Diner, was closing up alone. She lived in a trailer park near the beach, a shortcut through the dunes her usual route home. Witnesses heard screams blood-curdling, echoing across the water. By morning, her body was found, or what was left of it, torn limbs scattered like driftwood, her torso eviscerated, entrails dragged toward the sea. The police cordoned off the area, but Elena sneaked in with Marcus. The wounds were savage, deep gashes from claws, bite marks with serrated edges, and there, again, those tracks fresh, leading into the waves. "This isn't a shark or a bear," Elena said, her voice trembling. "It's adaptive. Look at the slim, it's got a mucus layer, like so many deep-sea fish, to prevent dehydration on land." Marcus paled. "You think it's intelligent?" She nodded. "And hungry. And hungry." The whispers grew into a chorus that night. Elena recorded them from her cottage. The sound like wet gasps, interspersed with clicks, like echolocation. Analyzing the audio, she detected patterns on most of the language. "It's calling," she whispered to herself. "Calling for what? Prey mates." She decided to investigate the trenches more deeply. The next day, they dove with the submersible, descending into the inky depths. At 500 meters, the camera caught something. The cavern mouth, bioluminescent fungi, illuminating skeletal remains, human bones, tangled with fish skeletons, and then a flash of scaled limb. Darting past, back on the boat, Marcus was frantic.
We need to tell someone.
"We need to tell someone. The authorities." But Elena was obsessed. "They won't believe us. We need proof." That evening, as dusk fell, she set up motion cameras on the beach, baited with fish guts. Marcus stayed with her, armed with a flare gun. The fog rolled in thick, muffling sounds. Hours passed in tense silence. Then, the first camera triggered. On her laptop, Elena watched. A figure emerging from the surf, crouched low. It was tall, over 7 feet, with glistening skin, mottled green and black. Like kelp, webbed feet and hands, ended in razor claws. Its face, God. Its face, elongated snout, rows of needle teeth, eyes like glowing orbs, reflecting the moonlight. Gills fluttered on its neck, but it breathed air with labored wheezes. It sniffed the bait. Ten looked up straight at the camera, as if knowing it was watched. Elena froze. "It's here!"
"It's here!"
Marcus grabbed the flare gun. They headed in the whispers, close, surrounding the cottage. No, not whispers. The creature's breath, echoing off the cliffs. A scratch at the door. Elena bolted it shut, heart pounding. "We have to get to the car." But as they moved, the window shattered. A clawed arm reached in, slashing at Marcus. He fired the flare, illuminating the beast's foremuscular dorsofin spine, tail whipping like a serpent's. They ran. Marcus screamed as claws raked his back. Blood spraying. Elena made it to the car, fumbling keys, but the creature was upon him. It dragged him toward the cliff, his cries fading into gurgles. Elena drove off, tears blurring her vision, heading to town. At the police station, she babbled about the monster. Sheriff Tate listened skeptically. "Shock, ma'am. We'll search for your friend, but deep down." He knew the old stories. That night, the town locked doors, but the Tidewalker didn't care for locks. Elena couldn't leave. Guilt gnawed her. She returned to the cottage at dawn, finding Marcus's blood trail leading to the sea. In his backpack, left behind, was a sample Vial slime from the creature. She analyzed it under a microscope. Cells, unlike any known species. Hybrid pot fish, pot reptile, with rapid regeneration. It can survive on land for hours. Maybe days, she realized, adapting to air, but needing water to respawn. The attacks escalated. That night, a family of tourists camping on the beach was slaughtered. Bodies rent apart, dragged halfway into the water. The creature was bolder, venturing inland, Elena heard it outside again, its clicks probing. She barricaded herself, but sleep evaded her. Dreams plagued her, swimming in the deep, the creature's eyes meeting hers, whispering secrets of the abyss. Desperate, she researched the legend in the town library. Dusty tomes spoke of the Tidewalker as a mutation from toxic dumps in the 1950s nuclear waste from Cold War tests, seeping into the trenches, birthing horrors. It fed on life force, growing stronger with each kill. To stop it, one must face it in its domain. An old note read, "The sea." Elena prepared. She loaded her boat with harpoons, flares, and a diving suit. As night fell, the whispers called her name impossible, but clear. Ilana. Ilana. It knew her. Had it learned from its victims, she motored out to the trench, the water black as oil. Anchoring, she donned her gear and dove, flashlights piercing the gloom. At 200 meters, the pressure squeezed her. Bioluminescence flickered eyes. Then it appeared. The Tidewalker, circling lazily, its form massive in the water, fins propelling it with grace. It lunged, jaws snapping. Elena fired a harpoon, grazing its side. Black ichor clouded the water. It retreated into the cavern. Sefoyod, heart thundering. Inside, bones littered the floor, dozens of victims. Some fresh. The creature waited, wounded but furious. It charged. Elena dodged, stabbing with a knife. Claws raked her suit, water flooding in. Panic rose. She fired a flare into its mouth, the beast roaring a sound that vibrated her bones. It thrashed, weakening. Elena swam for the surface, but it grabbed her ankle, pulling her down. In the struggle, she saw its eyes not mindless, but intelligent, pleading. No, vengeful. With her last strength, she jammed the knife into its gill. It released her, sinking into the dark. Gasping on the boat, Elena collapsed. The whispers stopped. Days later, the town returned to normal. No more disappearances. Elena left Eldridge Bay, but the scars remained physical and mental. She published her findings anonymously, warning of deep-sea mutations. But at night, in her new home far inland, she sometimes heard it. A faint hiss on the wind, calling her back to the tide. Was it dead, or just waiting, regenerating in the abyss, ready to emerge again when the moon was right? Months passed. Elena tried to forget, burying herself in lab work. But one stormy night, a knock at her door. No one there. Only a puddle of salt water, and tracks webbed, Claude leading the way. The whispers returned, closer than ever. It had followed her. Adapted. The ocean was vast, but revenge knew no bounds. In Eldridge Bay, fishermen reported sightings, a shadow in the waves, growing larger. The Tidewalker wasn't alone anymore. It had spawned. The end, or just the beginning of the horror.
Thanks for watching. If there is anything you would like to see, leave it in the comments. I'll see you next time.
I can't wait.